Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And I have a question for you all today, which is, do you think crypto is going to make you retire in the next 5 years? Yes or no? Put it in the comment section down below, and let's dive right into this article. XRP hitting $1. What are the chances? To be honest with you guys, I think this article is so ridiculously dumb. Let me tell you guys exactly why. It talks a little bit about the price action and how after a little bit of a breakout toward the top side, we can basically build on that and start trending back upwards. But I would basically like to ignore most of the short-term stuff that we're seeing and basically focus on the broader picture, which is $1 for XRP is ridiculously low. A long time ago, if you were to ask people this like 4 years ago or so, people would laugh at you if you said $1 per XRP because it was way too high. Now, if you're telling me $1, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty cool price, but what now? So what from here? What are you talking about? Because $1 per XRP is something we realized multiple times for extended periods of times, and it's really not something which shocks people anymore. It's not something which is odd to understand. It's not something that's far away. We know there's multiple different scenarios which just could push it instantly there. One of them obviously being a huge push in the Bitcoin price. Second one, of course, being a huge development in the lawsuit. And number three would most likely be if exchanges were to relist it. Those three things are just some examples as to when we would be at $1 nearly instantly. Even though it's a 50% gain, by the way, from where we are right now, which is still ridiculous. If you go to the S&P and put your money into a real market, a broader thing, for example, might take you 5-7 years to get that return. And with XRP, it could happen at any one moment. But it's something you should realize, right? That the gains are astronomical. And a 50% gain is not nothing, but it's actually really easy to get there. Unless you guys think XRP will never go to $1 again. If you do, I guess we're not on the same page. Then, Ripple CTO weighs in on Binance's rift with Barclays. Let me actually open this article on the side here. I haven't read it. It just came out 5 minutes ago, but it's quite interesting. This debacle here, this debate, is actually because somebody asked about the whole Barclays ordeal. What's going on is the English bank, the UK bank, has actually stopped transactions going to Binance right now. And so basically, it is almost impossible to deposit Great British pounds onto Binance. There's been a lot of backlash for that over on Twitter. It's been filled with just complaints against Barclays. And some guy said, Joel, if you could change it, how would you do it? And he said, the simplest patch, though by far not a fix, is to prohibit financial institutions from refusing transactions or customers arbitrarily and without appeal. If the government is using to force us to use financial institutions, they have to also force the financial institutions to serve us. And all I would say about that one is, well, there's a chance that they're doing it for your safety, but the bigger reason, of course, is because they themselves are a little bit scared for what might ensue. What does that mean? Well, as a bank, a reputable institution, there's two things which you might not want. One, you don't want Bitcoin because it's going to take over the financial system and basically change it. And two, well, if there's a lot of illegal activity and people sent it from your bank, you're going to have a lot of complaints on your hands and you're going to get a really bad image in the media for allowing and supporting all of that. You might not want that as a bank. I can understand. On the other different side, I guess it's also just a thing of maybe they are trying to protect you as an individual because they get so many complaints and maybe that's all they know, right? Think about it from a bank's perspective. Maybe they don't know too much about crypto. Maybe all they know is the scammy part of things. They don't see the good side. And they think, you know what? A lot of these customers, like maybe 10 a day, have been calling us up saying they fell for a phishing scam or fell for a new scam in their email box and they want to send money to Binance. The banks know as well. If they ever send that money there, it's never getting back to their pockets, which they might find scary. The counter argument, of course, is, well, they should also stop almost any other deposit too then, because if it's a website where, again, you do not have, for example, another bank, let's actually say that differently. If it's another just completely arbitrary address, it could be in the same type of fashion regardless, right? I mean, if they send it to a gambling website, it could be gone within a couple of minutes, couple of hours, couple of seconds. It's the same thing for so many different things. I mean, maybe it was just sending it to a gamble website and they lost their money way quicker. So it's only a liability thing then maybe. Like, I couldn't think of any good reasons why you'd want to stop it. unless you were just afraid of it in some way, shape, or form. You might say, oh, it's been the complaints. But even then, even though there's been complaints of safety, can you as a bank be allowed to stop them if you want to send it there? They should be able to question you, and I think they should also be allowed to stop countries. For example, if you want to send money to a country that's really risky or dangerous, or it might be funding some sort of things you do not want as a country. I don't want to say the name for it. It starts with a T and ends with a M. It's terrifying. You know what I mean? Terror. Yeah, that little thing. If you're trying to fund that in specific countries, they might block it. I get that. But a website in the United States that everybody can just utilize, or in England, I guess, and no, I don't really feel that that's the right way to go about these things. I feel it's really incriminating. It's a really bad thing. But with time, it will fix itself. It does show you, however, that these guys are really in a rush to regulate things still as it currently stands. Then $55 billion hedge fund Marshall weighs to start investing in crypto and stablecoins. London-based hedge fund that has been working since 1997 now intends to make a foray in the cryptocurrency sector. A. Pompliano posted, Marshall Weiss, a $55 billion hedge fund, has officially decided to begin investing in the crypto industry. Eventually, everyone will have to gain exposure to the industry, and all I can say about this one is, guys, please understand, please understand, please understand, it's a snowball effect. I've been shouting this for the last couple of months, even last couple of years, I guess, that it's a snowball effect, and the more players that get in, the more players that will hop on in. If you think crypto is not going anywhere, please tell that to all these multi-trillion-dollar investment funds in total. It's such a funny game to play here. If you think it's not going to go anywhere, you shouldn't be watching my channel because we're not on the same page. I personally am 100% convinced that these guys know what's coming. They know, they see the appeal, they see the money that's about to be made, and so they want to get in. These guys have so much experience. In this specific case, it's not been for too long, only 1997. Some of the guys have been here for so freaking long. You'd be surprised with how much knowledge they have over markets. You might think, but crypto's new. It is, but it's still another market segment, and a lot of these guys have witnessed these types of things before. Then, Elon Musk shares then deletes bizarre Warren Buffett crypto meme. All right, so let's quickly. Oh no, you need to. This is so freaking annoying. I'll try later. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, so there was a little thing he posted over on Twitter, which was found on the internet. Find as many coins as you can and fast by Warren Buffett on his best financial advice. It's a joke. He says also found on the internet, but I guess he basically deleted it a little bit later. If this is, by the way, not fake, it says here that it's from the Wayback Machine, though, so it's just, quote-unquote official. Again, take this with a grain of salt, but it's on the independent.co.uk. I feel as if it's real. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why he shared it or why he thought it would be smart. Maybe it's just as a little bit of a joke. Mr. Buffett, who has an estimated worth of $100 billion, according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, has previously dismissed Bitcoin as a gamble rather than an investment. There's two kinds of items that people buy and think they're investing. One really is investing and the other isn't, said the 90-year-old head of Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, if you buy something like Bitcoin or some crypto, you don't really have anything that has produced anything. You're just hoping the next guy pays more. True, but that's kind of a 50-50 depending on what you can do with it. This is actually only the truth if it has no utility whatsoever. Otherwise, you can actually say the same thing about gold or many other things in this world. A lot of things are basically stupid unless somebody else pays something more for it. Like, for example, artwork. If Warren Buffett, you cannot tell me he hasn't got any, has artwork, this is exactly the same type of concept. And you can still tell me it's investing, right? If you call anything that has a margin for creativity / artistics that's not purely functional, well, you're on this ballpark. Art is a key example. It might be something that the majority of people cannot make, right? But that doesn't mean the computer couldn't make it. For example, the majority of artworks somebody else could replicate, yet the first one to be made is, for example, way much or worth way more. And in the end of things, yeah, is it really any? It's just a piece of freaking what's it called? Coloring? No, it's called different. Paint on a piece of paper. Intrinsically, almost no value, unless it's really expensive paint or really expensive canvas. But it's just the labor that somebody's put in. But I guess from Bitcoin, it's the same type of perspective, right? It's just a piece of code. But it's about the labor that somebody put in to make that code, basically, to create new value, because new Bitcoins don't really come out of thin air. They basically come out of electricity / work. You might call that thin air because, I mean, let's not get too deep into that one. You guys get the picture, right? So it's a difficult argument to make. I'm not exactly sure why Elon shared this. I guess it's just a little bit of a joke. Prenay said here, Warren Buffett played a lot of Mass Effect. My financial decisions in a game, my financial decisions in real life. Yeah, that's also pretty funny. And Elon Musk said, Warren Buffett loves Sizzler Buffet. Interesting. Then Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki warned a historic market crash is coming. Trumpeted Bitcoin and championed Warren Buffett's love of brands in a recent interview. Here's the 10 best quotes. Please, guys, don't involve yourselves with these type of people. I've told you before, I think Robert Kiyosaki has a lot of great points. He wrote a really great book for a lot of people. I'm not sure, but this is what I've got from, getting over the internet. He got rich from selling the book, not beforehand, mostly. Selling books is his niche. That's also what he's most known for selling a book, not for his great business enterprises next to it. Point being, how can you know that this guy has any more legitimacy than, your neighbor, for example? How do you really know? Right? Just because he's famous or just because he's a good author who wrote a book? I mean, even though he's wrote a book about some financial decisions which his rich or dad, hypothetical, could have given him, it doesn't make him the best investor in the world. So if a person like this talks to you about a market crash coming, you got to kind of think for yourself about how exactly he got the knowledge and how he came to that conclusion. I personally think that his opinion doesn't really matter much more than a billionaire's does, and that's something funny, because a billionaire is actually still a human being. A billionaire doesn't necessarily know more about the markets than you do, because these things are quote-unquote new and different technology than what they're used to. Bitcoin is such a manipulated market, yet it's so strange to conceptualize still. What I mean with that is that even though billionaires might know the markets very formally and properly, like I just said, like these big billionaire hedge funds, it might resemble something they've seen in the past. That does not mean they actually know what's going to happen from here on forward, though. And if somebody says they love it or hate it, it could be for such a big multitude of reasons. You can listen to them and take them up in your kind of brain for right now, but you don't really, in my own opinion, have to react to those decisions that they make. Even though they became a billionaire, they didn't become a billionaire by being the most gratuitous people in the world. They didn't become a billionaire because they literally gave all their money to other people, if you get what I'm trying to say. A lot of the billionaires are extremely selfish and will not tell you the secrets, otherwise everybody would be rich, right? If Warren Buffett told you all his secrets, think about that for a little second. You might think, oh yeah, he's given all the secrets out. Yeah, has he? All right, then AVA, up to 16%. Or up 60% on news of AVA Pro launch. AVA, still my arch nemesis and my favorite crypto at the same time. Why? Well, because it's crypto that I sold prematurely and I'm always hating myself for it. But AVA Pro is coming in July and the price went pretty crazy over a little short time here. They've been going through such big investment rounds as well, guys. I've been really hyped up about AVA for the longest time. I'm going to still keep that way. And then giant banking UBS warns that regulatory crackdowns can spell more trouble for crypto. Partially true, partially false. More trouble for crypto, yes, but China effect has now shown that any regulatory uncertainty, clarity, whatever is going to be coming up, will have a fix. The whole Bitcoin regulatory status quo question, whatever, has been answered, and I'll talk to you guys about that either on my 5-minute crypto channel or on another video that's coming out later today. And about Cardano, why Cardano is just teasing us. Cardano is just teasing us. We got to break the downside and then bounce back up the apex area. Well, the only thing I could kind of tell you about the Cardano tease is actually that most cryptos have fallen down a little bit from the earlier trend line. It's still going upwards, but ADA is one of those only ones which should just be going upwards like without any question whatsoever for a pretty good while here. So that one is a really, really good contender of the top crypto right now. I would say, I guess Bitcoin we can still kind of draw like this, having 3 points to still consider this a trend line. But ADA is also beautiful, as you can clearly see here, from June 22nd on forward. And so it's been a little bit of a tease. Why is that one going so good and some other altcoins weren't? Interesting.